Hi, this is Joey O'Neill from Sound Systems Incorporated in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I can be reached at 843-602-5883, and we're currently at Trinity United Methodist Church in Andrews, South Carolina. I'm doing small videos to remind the church or the church personnel how to operate some of the system. And right now we're going to cover the camera system, what we're calling the matrix or the switcher box. I'll go through the CD player, and I'll also kind of cover a little bit of the computer information. Back behind this, I'm not going to get any detail. Obviously this is a power strip and a crossover and 3 PV amplifiers that have a DSP, meaning they just the amplifiers that control the house speakers, subwoofers, monitor 1, piano monitor, stage monitor 2, subwoofers, things like that. So I'm not as concerned about this. And also this is a lavalier belt pack that's been lifted by the church. But the purpose of this section of the video, we have a small LED monitor back in the booth. This is a temporary sound booth that we're moving everything off the congregation floor to give more room, and then we're going to have some shelving material back here where most of this stuff is going to rack up. We have a Sony RoboScan high definition camera mounted obviously in the congregation around the corner from where I'm at, and this is the picture we're looking at of the main sanctuary, which is to my left. You'll also notice we have video monitors hanging left and right in the congregation, and you may be able to see, but there's a small line array, TOA line array speakers left and right. And since we've got it here, there's a small custom subwoofer left and right that we built, painted to match the decor, and took the material to match the rest of the church. So what we're looking at here is the high def camera. This particular unit is called a matrix switcher. This unit is a CD player and the computer. So let's start with the camera system. We didn't want to get into a lot of detail and a lot of control for the camera, so we kept the camera system very simple. One high definition camera mounted to the TV monitor that's also in the back of the congregation that allows the choir or anybody on stage to see. And we have a remote sensor tied to that camera, and it comes right down in front of the TV monitor. The whole entire camera system operates off this very simple wireless remote control that is included with the camera. And what happens is I can pan, tilt, move left or right, or do anything I'd like to with the camera just by using this wireless remote control, due to the small sensor that we have installed right here on the TV, which lets us control. So for example, if I'm looking at that image and I would like to change one of the settings on there, I can go from setting number 1 that I've preset on the camera. Preset just means I've hit preset and held it for a couple seconds. And I can go from that setting to that setting to that setting, or I can go and do anything myself and just move everything left or right. I can do it fast or slow. I've got many options with remote control. And let's say that I have to get over here to look at somebody because they're going to introduce them. And then I would like to go back to setting number 1. I just hit one of my presets and the camera takes me right back. Now, very simple to operate. Signal comes directly from the camera into this monitor. Then it comes directly from the camera into this little guy right here called a matrix. Now this guy's very important because, and I'm talking about this one small box right underneath here. And you can see a number that says 2 and 1. What happens with this is an HDMI matrix, which means I can have 4 HDMI devices going into the unit, and I can supply 4 HDMI outputs coming out of the unit. Now, the outputs for this HDMI, number 1 output is the rear TV that the choir is looking at. Output number 2 is the house right TV. Let me back up so I can get a little better shot of that. Let me pan it up a little bit. Okay. There again, output number 1 is the rear TV that the choir is looking at, which is obviously back on the main entrance. Output number 2 is house right TV, which you can see there's a picture of a soldier holding a Bible that is related to our worship software. This is ProPresenter software, so that's what's duplicating that. I have purposely separated the two to give you the idea of what the matrix does. The matrix takes any of 1 to 4 inputs and sends it to any of 1 to 4 outputs. And that's why I'm doing it for this demonstration, to let you see that you can have something different or independent on this monitor, which right now is the camera, the same camera image as what the congregation can see, and or coming off the computer, which is plugged in there. So there again, output number 1 is a rear TV, output number 2 is house right, output number 3 is house left, and output number 4 is this guy, which means if I wanted to, I could change output number 4 to see my computer image if I'd like to do that. I'm going to have labels here, but my label maker just ran out, so I'm going to put new labels on it in a minute. Input number 1 is the computer, and input number 2 is the camera system. For example, if I know that this is output number 4, and I would like for output number 4 to see input number 1, then what I would do is take this remote, and I'd say output 4 sees input 1, and then I hit enter, and if I did everything correctly, number 1 is my camera. I want to say output number 4 sees input number 2, enter, and how's that working for me? Okay, I thought we had this hooked up to the matrix, but actually it's just hooked up directly to the camera. So I want to say that I'd like to change all monitors at one time. These and the ones, the ones out in the congregation. I'd like for all of these to see the same thing. Right now I'm looking at the camera on this one and the computer on this one. So therefore I say output all see input 2. Enter. It goes through my changes, and if you'll notice now, input 2 is my camera, and I'm looking at the camera on all 3 screens. Trust me, the one on the back here is not. I know that didn't work, so you don't trust me now, but anyway, that's what happens. So now I can say output all see input 1 and hit enter, and it goes through its scroll, and it'll take it just a second, and there it is. Now we're looking at the soldier out in the congregation, obviously, on screen 1, 2, and 3, and it's what it's doing is it's showing the screen from my Pro Presenter. Now on my Pro Presenter, I can go over here and I can get rid of the output if I don't want to have anything, and right there is a desktop image of just, I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Yeah, just a nice picture of the Bible with the sun shining on it, and then that's what shows on my screen. That's also what's being shown on all the screens in the congregation. To prove that, I'm going to say output number 1 sees input number 2, and let me hit enter. And output number 1 is my rear TV. I didn't mean to do it that way. Output number 4 sees input number 2 and hit enter. And my units out there changed. So, cool little remote. Output all see input 2, enter, and in a second my camera image should come back up. Alright, now that's my camera image for here, camera image house left, house right, and the monitor that I have back there. You see we have our desktop screen that I've downloaded, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hit my Pro Presenter to reopen that, and if I hit output back on, then when I select that, I'll be seeing my Pro Presenter on the video monitors. Okay, very basic. A little confusing, sorry about the confusion there. HDMI output runs into an HDMI splitter, camera comes into a splitter, these are HDMI, HDMI in, HDMI out, and makes everything nice and clean. To finish up, this little piece, and that relates all to the video and the camera system. To finish up, this little guy down here is called a Tascam CD200. Neat little device. when we're playing back music sources, we don't want to play 2 or 3 different things and use up so many channels of the mixer. So we installed this unit to come over here to our audio mixer, which is to the left of this image, and that's tied into channels 1 and 2 of our audio mixer that we just did a previous video over here on the side. Cool thing about this guy is I can take the remote control and I can change 3 different inputs. I've got a 3.5 input, so if a wedding or funeral, or somebody's got a song on their phone or their iPad and they don't know how to download it or anything like that, we can plug it into the auxiliary input, change the setting on the front to auxiliary, and then give them this, and they can play whatever music source they'd like to have. Plays through the system, comes over to channel 1 and 2. Somebody has an iPhone, iDock, or an iDevice, we can take this out and they can plug their phone into the charger, the small mini charger here, like an Apple would have, or an iPod dock or anything like that. They can put that in there, change the display on the front, and they can play music right to this source. Push that in, lock it back up, and right now I have a CD playing, and obviously a CD player. So I have 3 music capability inputs that would only take up 2 channels of my audio mixer, keeping things nice and clean. Obviously the remote control for this will let me do a variety of stuff, like repeat one song, repeat the whole disc, all the usual stuff. And that right now the CD should be playing at this point. And I'll come over here and I'll bring it up. And there's a couple of things where it lets me search and just acts like an old CD player. Pretty self-explanatory. Alright, I'm going to pause that. And that gives us a general overview of the worship software, Pro Presenter. Oh, by the way, password for the computer, Jesus, capital J. And the Trinity United Methodist Church is who we registered the Pro Presenter software program to it. And the code is on a little cheat sheet note right here. Alright, that's the rundown of the computer system and how it ties into the matrix. It gives you an overview of the CD player and shows you how to do different things on the camera. I'm going to come over here to the Mac system and show you how we're going to record to the Mac Mini. Joey O'Neill Sound Systems, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, 843-602-5883.